I think what we've got to look forward to today is we've got business manager from Bishops who's going to be presenting. After that, we've got Linda from Danville Park Girls that is going to be presenting on finances and just managing unpaid school fees. The theme of today is we understand it's a bit of a crazy period out there with finances and managing finances. So we wanted to give two speakers and some kind of industry experts to share on that and just to help schools practically. And then after that, we've got our firm favorite, Rian Treater, who's going to be doing 10 minutes of inspiration. So really excited for him right at the end. But we know today is a more serious topic. Before we get to our speakers, the day is possible because of our incredible sponsors. So we would like to invite, I'm going to hand over to Ash to invite them on stage.
Perfect. So today we have, so obviously we're talking about finances and that, and you wouldn't think this is an obvious case of finances when you hear what the company is that's sponsoring today, but we have Digital Generation as a titanium partner with us. They're Dell's titanium partner, and Dell has incredible services when it comes to Dell Financial Services. So that is services that don't not only make they're not only a company that makes great technology, they make great technology available. So they are going to chat to us quickly, 10 minutes, high level on what they are bringing to the school market in terms of new and innovative technology that's going to be quite game changing. And they're also going to be explaining to you how this is attainable to your schools through their financial services models. So we are going to invite Jonathan Roll and Michelle onto the stage. Michelle and Jonathan, you can pop on and you can unmute. This is Michelle. Michelle is from Generation. The lovely Michelle is the one that you will contact and find to literally help source any kind of Dell technology that you need. She's got years of experience of how to implement into the classroom and what is necessary. And then we have our real technology guru specialist over there, Jonathan. And Jonathan is going to be demoing some incredible product and kit today, but then also speaking through how Dell has made this attainable to all schools. So Jonathan, do you want to get us going?
Absolutely. So Michelle, I don't know if you wanted to do a kickoff, but if you're all good, I can start. I've got a timer so that I don't go over. I'm going to push start. All right. So thank you very much for having myself and Michelle from Digital Generation on today to talk to you about technology, but also how do we make that technology available to you in the schools. So the purpose statement of Dell Technologies is that we create technologies that drives human progress. And where's a better place to start than right in the schools with our students? And to enable a student, we need to introduce them to technology. I'm just going to go back to an experience I've had recently. So my son, he joined high school, he moved up, and with that, I got a document from the school, and it said, hey, we would like your son to own a tablet. It needs to be between 8 and 10 inches. It needs to have a 2 gig ROM at least, maybe 4 gig ROM is preferred, and it needs to have 32 gigs or 64 gigs of RAM. That was kind of the context of the requirement. So I'm in technology, so I went to the store and I was looking for the best possible kit for my son, and I was going through everything. And being with Dell Technologies, there's certain things I'm looking for. I'm looking for a 3-year warranty, and that's impossible to find on an entry-level tablet. I'm looking for reliability. I'm thinking, you know what, this product's going to cost me $3,000 now. I'm likely going to have to replace it before my son finishes his school year. So the cost of this device isn't just the upfront $3,000. It's going to cost me a lot more money over time. Plus, I need screen covers. I need to have, what is the reliability of this product? Are there going to be updates available to me at a later stage? And so all of these thoughts going through my head, and eventually I settled on a product, and it's worked okay. But what I found is that the school hasn't really implemented much. My son still carries more technology in his backpack not technology, textbooks in his backpack than he should. I would have assumed that most of that would have moved across to the actual tablet device. So what I see, and I was having a discussion with my boss as well, we were talking about education, and really South Africa is probably 5 to 10 years behind other countries around the world where technology is being used, in many schools. Dell actually has enabled over 400,000 schools globally with technology. And we'd often talk about devices, and I think this is the wrong approach. I could come in here today and I could just pitch this notebook. I could tell you about how these corners are rounded and they've got rubberized edges, and they go through 20,000 micro drops on all angles to make sure that the product can take the rigors of everyday school life. All right, so this is the pitch, I guess. I could tell you that the keys cannot be pulled out. They cannot be picked from the device. It gives the child the ability to turn it into a tablet. Right, but that's the device, that's the product, that's the tool that they will be using. But with that comes a whole conversation to the school around how do we make this accessible to the students? Instead of sending out that email where kids are on different levels, some of them are, the school said we prefer an Android operating system, but some kids are going to come with iOS. And so there's good and there's better and there's best. So the conversation I would have with the school, and where digital generation and myself would come in, is that we want to be able to come out to the school and have a conversation with the school. Where do you see yourself in 3 years from now? Where do you see yourself in 5 years from now? And to kind of frame it is really a conversation about total cost of ownership of a device. When you buy a brand new device, you're not just buying a PC that's going to cost you, say this PC costs 5,000 Rand as an example. Research that we've done in the corporate world is actually showing that the cost of owning a device is only quarter of the cost of actually owning it for the full 3 years of the life cycle of the product. So, a device that costs you 5 grand up front is likely going to cost you about 20 grand to own it over the full period of time. And this is obviously a corporate statistic. But it's very interesting because where does that cost come in? The cost comes in IT having to go out and do repairs. It's going to come in when it comes to upgrades to devices that weren't spec'd correctly at points of sale. It's going to come down to breakages, productivity, time that you cannot work on the device because it's in the shop for repair, for example. So the conversation that we would have with our customers is really around something we call PC as a service. But PC as a service isn't just that's the product. It's got pillars within inside. And so PC as a service would offer our customers a deployment service. We can come to site, right? With the digital generation, we would come to site. We'd first have a conversation and frame who are the different personas within your organization. Are they students? Are they educators? Is it back office? Is it a lab? Are you looking at VR? Are you interested in AI? Where do you see yourself in the future? From there, we can then build a set of solutions, and we would wrap a solution around a student, for example. So this would be a solution, right? The product, but with the product, you would probably need some sort of carry case that would protect the product. You may need a stylus. In the classroom, you may be looking at large format displays. This is a 70-inch large format display behind me that has 20-point touch, so I can actually move the slides across. And as I work on the actual screen, I'd be able to save that work and then send it off back to the students for them to review at a later stage. And so, the first process, part of the process or step would be to have that conversation where we can help to advise. That then flows into the actual device. What is the right device for the user to make sure that they can do their best work? But then what about the support? So, if you take the example I gave at the beginning, that tablet device I purchased, I know I'm going to be replacing it. It's not going to last the long run. Even if I put covers on it and do all the best I can, it's going to die. But a device that has been designed specifically for this purpose, that has gone through drops from over 30 inches and over 48 inches onto steel to be able to test for reliability, that product's going to last the long run. So if it's a school who's planning to have an entire tech lab, we actually have charging carts that allow you to put these into the cart overnight, and the charging cart will be able to charge up to 36 tablets inside a safe room. Now, all of these things, yes, I know what you're thinking. You say, hey, this costs money. And it's true. In my school, they asked the parents to go out and procure the equipment. I think a smarter strategy would have been to work with IT, work with a company, a vendor like Dell, like Digital Generation, who are experts in this industry, and to be able to work out a solution. And then part of that solution becomes the deployment. It becomes the manageability of the product. It becomes the reliability. Becomes the warranty at the end of throughout the life cycle. And now when we talk about that total cost of ownership being a quarter of the cost of owning it over the next 3 years, we're able to reduce that cost right down. But in addition to that, we make it affordable, and we have a product called PC as a Service, or it's Dell Financial Services, which can then wrap this all up into a financial package where our schools are able to pay a predictable monthly amount, where they can also have the flexibility to add kit to the plan. Dell can even come in with Dell Financial Services and buy out your old equipment. So if you're sitting with an office which has got very outdated equipment, you can improve productivity just within your office by replacing the kit with new generation Intel processors. And so this is all part of the solution. It's not a one-size-fits-all. And PC as a Service and that initial engagement with Dell and with DG is going to enable you to open and broaden your perspective on how you can enable your school. And it can include anything. As I say, it can be the boards behind us. In the office space, it's desktops. In the school environment, it's both Chromebooks. This is a Chromebook device, so you'll be able to run off of Android. But we also have Windows-based devices. This would be an 11-inch Windows-based device, also built for students. For our teachers in the school, you can have 14-inch Chromebooks available, as well as a full range of Windows-based devices. So I've got 36 seconds left, and I just wanted to sum things up quickly. So engage with Dell Technologies, invite digital generation to come in and have that initial conversation with you. We believe that we will be able to enable you, and we'll be able to help you to move to that next step, which is the first step of many to help to enable and to bring technology to your students. And in closing, we were able to work with a school in Cape Town, and it was one of the most incredible experiences where we were able to enable the school. And this is an NGO, and this NGO was able to get 100% matric pass rate during lockdown this last year. So, very close to my heart, and I hope that you'll be able to allow us to come and help. Thank you very much.
Brilliant. Jonathan, thank you so much. And I think also a big thank you to all the schools out there. The reason we had Dell speak is we can keep this event free because of sponsors like Jonathan. So Jonathan, thank you. If you want to check out more about them, please connect with Digital Generation on their exhibitor profile. I'd now like to invite our host for the next session.
Thanks, Jonathan.
Rian van der Berg to come on stage. So up live is going to be Sean King from Bishops. And Linda, just once again, sorry, we had a technical difficulty in the beginning, which means we are running a little bit late, but we're going to get into the meat of things now. And I've asked Rian, who is our partner at FEDSAS, just to host. So we've always valued our relationship with FEDSAS as an organization. And Rian, when it comes to understanding schools and what they go through, is the perfect host for the session. So Rian, over to you.
Thank you, Peter. Good morning, Ashley, and good morning to our audience. It's amazing to hear about all the numbers that Schoolscape is attracting, and I think it's brilliant that schools are engaging, thinking, looking at solutions. As Peter said, my name is Rian van der Berg. I'm the Education Technology Manager at FEDSAS, the Federation of Governing Bodies of South African Schools, and we're very much relevant this month because it's the SGB elections, and I want to implore everyone, go and vote. Make sure that we get the right people in the decision-making positions at schools. So thank you for all the schools. Well done for the elections that are taking place. But make sure that we lift the leadership temperature at our schools and make good decisions for the future. In saying that, we're very honored to have a wonderful speaker this morning. Up first is Sean King. He's the business manager at Bishops, and we're going to be talking financial matters, financial issues. So Sean, you prepared some presentation for us, but as an opening remark, I just want to say I think it's critical, especially in technology, the field that I'm working in, that people make good decisions and not cheap decisions. And we've got to focus on cost versus value, or more value versus cost, and looking at opportunity cost of not doing things. How would you advise our audience today on good decision making as far as procurement, tenders, sensible buying for better learning outcomes in school? Good morning, Sean. Welcome to the stage. The audience is yours.
Thank you so much. Thanks, Rian. Thanks for having me here. It's a privilege always to come and chat to forums like this. So yeah, I've got 15 minutes to talk about it, so I don't have a lot of time, and a tender process is a is a pretty full process. So for me to give you all the information around a tender process would be impossible in 15 minutes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you some high-level handles that you can use. So I'll go into an element of detail, but I'm going to give you some high-level sort of focus areas. So firstly, the first thing is reason to go to tender. What's the objective? You usually do these for large cost items. In our environment, we do it for the regulars. We have some big contracts that are other than our staff, internal staff. The next big sorts of costs tend to go to tenders. And the cost and performance are usually the drivers. So we look at, sometimes you're tired of what's going on after a period of time and you think your service delivery is not up there, but often it's cost. Cost is one of the key drivers, and in our environment, especially in independent schools now, the cost of education is high. So we're always looking for ways to bring costs down, and one of the ways to do that logically is to do a proper tender process on your big suppliers. It's not the only reason why you go. Sometimes governmentally, you want to governmentally you want to do it. So you may have a process that says after every 3 to 5 years on your large items, you have to go to tender no matter what, and that is a good practice anyway. So, but often it's cost and performance that tend to make you want to move. Then you must always consider in a tender process, you can have an open tender process, which means you go out there and you open it to everybody who is keen, and I wouldn't recommend that. That is a scary process because you could have many people coming to you to give them a proposal. So we recommend go with a closed tender. That's also difficult because how do you choose who you go to tender with? And that is a tricky process. So what you would tend to do is have your executive or internal people and some outsiders, you know who the big people in the market are. So you tend to go by investigation. So it is difficult, but I would limit that to no more than 6 very competitive suppliers. Otherwise, it's going to be a very hard process to manage. With a tender process, I want to tell you that this is a genuinely competitive place. So it's great. When you go to tender and you're engaging with suppliers, this is the most competitive place to be. So use it well. Once you've signed the agreement, it tends to harden. Your relationship hardens over time, and it's never as easy as it is during this process. So this is a very key time to make sure that you land all the things that you want to land. One of the major considerations is a contract term. We generally go between 3 and 5 years, and this has a massive bearing on cost. So if you have a very short contract, it's not going to give you the best price. So you need to find a sweet spot for you and your service provider. They've got an idea and tend to want to go for a longer period, and you want to try and find a period that meets your cost area and also your service delivery. So the longer the contract, you tend to have poorer service delivery in the end. So, and it's also very important that you consider the termination process. So, if you have a 5-year contract, make sure that you are clear on the way that you can terminate if you're unhappy. So that's a very important part of your agreement process. So upfront, you need to be able to tell your vendors that you've got a specific way of measuring them, and you can terminate if you want. So that termination process is very important, especially in a 5-year contract. When you look at the process, any tender process, I'm talking to a lot of people that probably know how to do it. So forgive me, it is a basic process, and the most important thing with a tender is structure. If you don't have structure, I think you'll find yourself scrambling on many fronts. So it's important that you create a very clear and concise tender document, our RFP, a request for proposal, as we call it, and most companies out there call it that. It's got to be absolutely crystal clear. So don't be vague. If you want something, ask for it. If you don't ask for it, they're not going to respond to it. So you need to be very clear. And then what we tend to do is break it down into broad components. I mean, people have different ways of running tenders. We tend to break it into the main components. So all the various, if it was a food contract for our boarding house food, or a grounds contract, there are different elements around people and assets. So you need to just make sure that you break it down into the broad components. The way we run tenders is we have an opening meeting where we invite all the tenders, and we give them enough time. We need to give them enough time to get there. So sometimes they come from far and wide. So you need to give them warning of your proposed time, and allow them enough time to make plan to get there. And then you need to honor these suppliers. These guys are making an effort to come and visit you and to come and present. So, don't put a panel of people out there to welcome them that are not the right panel. Have senior people available, make sure executives are there, treat them with great respect and welcome them on that basis, make sure that they feel important. What we tend to do is we hand out the RFP to all the vendors that attend, and then we go through it in absolute detail. So it's a written document that we hand out, usually in a PDF form, and we just start at the top and give a little bit of background, and then we go into the key details that are important for us. So we make sure they understand the key requirements. So when you're doing a tender, your key requirements need to be very clear, and you need to relay those across to them as best you can. We tend to explain the adjudication process. We have a formal adjudication process here at Bishops, and most companies, I'm sure, do. But you need to be clear and specific. They need to understand what our drivers are and how we're going to award this contract. Set up clear channels of communication, one person only. Often people have relationships with people at different areas of your business, and they send emails around the corners. So you need to be very clear that there's only one person that is dealt with on this and through this process, and no one else is allowed to chat to them outside of that. We get our vendors who come and present or come to the opening presentation or session or the fact-finding session. We make them sign a register. That's just important to know that those that didn't manage to come can't say that, we've got proof that those that came were clear on what was presented. Then you give them a reasonable time to go and do that tender. It's tough for them. There's a lot of information that they've got to put together. So be fair in that process. Don't be unreasonable. You don't want to give too much time. Otherwise, vendors tend to only do it in the last week anyway, but give them a reasonable amount of time. You'll know what that is. And then allow for questions throughout that process. Allow them to email you to that single source, the confirmed source, and then make it open to all parties. When you answer questions, all questions should be visible to all parties, and then make sure that you respond to all parties. So it's an open process. And then set up an adjudication panel with a nice with good representation. You need executives from all sides. You need, if you've got more than one school like we have 3 schools, make sure you've got representation, and then have executives at it. Don't just have the people that are on the ground managing the process. So have all parts, people from all parts. And then construct your agreement before, if you can. I'm rushing because I see I think I've got about 2 minutes left. So you must be able to, with Apple comparison, that's absolutely critical. So ask for the costs of people at certain grades. Ask for the number of people times their rates. Tell them to break up bonus parts so that you can see what they are. And make sure you ask for a list of assets if they're providing assets. Ask for costs of assets inclusive and exclusive of VAT. And then you need to consider the years 2 and onwards. Don't just think about the current year. Think further than that, because inflation plays a part. If someone's put a 10% increase in there, after 5 years, you will have paid 10% compounded as an increase. So just be careful about that. And then give a deadline to respond. And then summarize those responses. This is the hardest part. You need to be very careful about that. It takes time, so allow for some time. When you say to vendors you're going to feed back to them, give yourself time to do a proper check on who's best, and then get clarification, and then rank them first up on their responses. And then you need to go into a formal presentation process with those that leaders. Make sure that you're going to get the people that sort of tend to come to the top, and then you're going to go into presentation process with them. You can choose to have a presentation from all vendors, but usually you go with your ones that are coming out best. And then in that presentation process, you need to give a fixed time. You need to allow for some questions and give the panel time to discuss in between. So we prepare a scoring sheet. That's a weighted scoring sheet that says we've got some criteria that you have to meet. And then we weight those based on our weightings. And then we get scores from each panel member, and we come up with a weighted score. And then after that gives us a summary, a best scored supplier. And that gives us our preferred suppliers. Then we award. You've got a 1 and a 2. And generally when you award, you're going to award who you think is the best vendor, but you do it in writing, and you make sure it's subject to, you first have to get through the agreements and the process of agreeing a contract. And if you can't agree, then they're not there. So you have your second best vendor in the wings, and you inform them that they are second, and that you may well be in touch with them, and you actually enter into a process with both of them. And communicate to the unsuccessful guys too. It's very important that you're clear and kind and gracious in that process. I mean, they've made a lot of effort, so just be clear and let them know early. They don't waste their time. And if they ask for reasons, you don't have to always give reasons, but we tend to give reasons. And then lastly, just some considerations. Remember, health and safety in schools is very important. Theirs and ours. There's sexual offences registers and things like that. So criminal checks need to be done. Don't leave this process too late timing. So don't leave it if you've got a December year end like we have. Don't leave it till the last minute. You need to give yourself a lot of time to set it up and to be clear and to go out there and do the process properly. Don't dishonor your current service provider. Your incumbent is very important. You've got a person who's been giving you service for many years, 3 or 5 years, and they're important. You don't want to just chuck them under the bus, so just make sure that you are kind. We consider environment in everything that we do now. I think it's the right thing. We should be doing that. And then don't send your potential vendors on a goose chase. If you're going to go to tender and you know you're not going to change, I think that's quite unfair. So your tenderers make a lot of effort to come there, and if you know you're not going to actually consider them, then that's not so kind. So I think you have to take each vendor seriously and make sure that if they put their best foot forward, that you consider it. And then lastly, I'd say that the more you do, the better you get. So you learn from your mistakes. I think as we've gone along, we've made mistakes, and just make notes of those mistakes and learn how to remedy those. So that's a very fast overview of tenders. So I've got a lot more information that I could share, but that's my time. So yeah.
Yeah, I know we squeezed you in for time, but thank you for sharing. You speak so well. You should write and maybe call yourself Stephen. I'm not sure, but I've got 2 good questions for you that popped up. The first one is, you referred to the RFP and the clarity of the information required so that you can end up with a quality process of comparing apples with apples. Can you just maybe give us a 30-second or a 1 minute on the importance of the design of the solution? Because obviously the tendering company is not going to come and say, well, we've got this for you. What I want to aim at is, should the school and the governing structures at the school be far more diligent in understanding what the vision is and the design is, so that they can say, this is our plan, and maybe spend some money on architecture? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I agree 100%. So to get the end result, you do have to make sure that, let's take a food one, for example. You want to be specific about whether it's a healthy product. So you're living the strategy of your own school. You want to know that the meat portions are adequate. So in our school, boys only school, the boys are always asking for more meat. There are environmental issues associated with that, but we need to make sure that the menu is an appropriate menu. So we make sure that we know what we want beforehand, and then we give very specific quantums and sizes of what we want in order to reach our objective. And then we make sure that the vendors do the same when they respond, that they respond on a like-for-like basis. And if you're looking at grounds, we talk about how many fields, how many cuts, how many times you would do scarifications and things like that. So for each component, you really want to make sure that you've got the right asset mix. So you ask for specific size mowers if you want, etc. So we are very, very specific in the way that we ask for information, so that if there's a difference, it's very easy to go to one or the other and just say, can you just give us some more information around that? Yeah. So we do architect it according to our needs beforehand. Yeah.
So you've got to know what your needs are before the vendor tells you what their product is.
Absolutely, clearly. You must have your end goal in mind, and that can have impact on cost. So you've always got to remember the two parts. One is you can have a perfect service delivery and it comes at a price. So somewhere in between, you've got to have a fit that's good for you. So in printing, you would have, exactly how many copies you make. You want to spec machines in your big print rooms that you are the right size at. You definitely don't want some vendor giving you a tiny machine and afterwards he says, sorry, I thought that was the right size machine. So we are very clear on those. Yeah.
Excellent. Talking about price, the last question, how open do you find people to be negotiable? Should schools venture down that angle and say, we have so much available, let's negotiate?
Yeah, so that's an interesting question, because in some instances you don't necessarily have as much negotiating power as you'd hope. So some parts of your business, so if you've got big boarding houses and your food component is large, then it's a volume-based business, and then straight away the vendors are a little bit more serious about you. And in printing, if your printing volumes are huge, then you've got more scope to fight for price. But I think all vendors are negotiable. I think as long as you're fair, you don't want vendors not to make money. I think the minute you go down that road, then you're gonna. This is a partnership. You have to have an absolute partnership with your vendors, and a partnership is the thing that works the best. So this is the start of a partnership, and you just need to be sure that you don't feel ripped off, and that they feel that they're making margin. But that in a competitive environment is great, because you can get like for like comparatives, and generally all vendors are keen. Current environment even more so. So I think it's as long as you're fair to vendors, I think that's important. Yeah.
Brilliant. We've got to step away from Sean, and thank you for your time this morning, Sean. Unfortunately,
thanks,
we're running low on time, but thank you for sharing with us. There's a poll running on the platform, so if you want to add to the conversation, just fill out the poll there. We're going to invite the next speaker to the stage. And Sean, in the old days, I would have asked the audience to clap for you and let you go now. Thanks for sharing with us.
No, pleasure. Thanks so much.
Wonderful. Our next speaker is Linda Scholes, and she's a principal in the trenches, living the daily challenges of what ABBA sang about in the early 70s about money, money, money. And it's a difficult economy that we find ourselves in. I heard an economist speak towards the end of last year, and the talk about the phrase, the school economy, is now a thing. There's a school economy that we've got to be looking at. Linda, welcome to the stage. We're going to ask you to talk to us about the influence of our changes in economical climate. COVID hit schools, hit the world economy, never mind South African economy hard, but the school economy is affected. And what are you guys doing to ensure that school fees are collected, that the resources are there to produce quality education? Welcome, Linda. Please go ahead.
Thank you, Rian. Just a brief introduction about myself. My name is Linda Scholes, and I am very honored to be the principal of a girls' school in Durban, Danville Park Girls High School, right near the sea. So we have a beautiful view from particularly our maths block. And thank you very much for inviting me to share some ideas with you all today. I must say from the outset that I do need to clarify that it's not a perfect plan. It really is about sharing, in essence, with you and reflecting what most schools probably have practiced and experienced over the last few months. I want to share my screen with you just so that I can talk to that. Sorry, just give me a moment.
All good. We can see your screen. You just need to
see my screen. Perfect.
There we go. 100%.
Perfect. Just perhaps to put a little bit in context about what our fee income trend looked like, the grey line, if it's clear to you, was our prior year. So that was 2019 fee income. And then the top line, the green line, was our budget. And the blue line, which lies between the 2019 line and the budget, is in fact was the actual. So you can see that we were very lucky to have raised more income than we had in 2019. However, we didn't actually hit the target, but we were grateful for how it actually transpired. Then this is just to give you an idea. What we do is we track the debtor trend per grade, grade 8 to 12. We are only a high school, but I'm not going to spend much time on that. I think the question asks, how did we manage the unpaid fees? So I've just given you a list there. The first one, and perhaps I should say at the outset that we don't always do everything by the book. We do have an auditor as our treasurer, so he does guide us. We don't make big mistakes, but sometimes we do have some creating strategies or creative strategies that we implement. So we have upfront payments, and we found that the discount that we pay assists us, and we use this money then to reduce our overheads. The monthly fee payments, those are used for salaries. And last year, we had no rationalization of staff. We didn't have to reduce any of their salaries. And we found that this upfront payment for us was a great benefit. Also remembering that we do need to be empathetic. I think the Schools Act is quite clear on exemptions, and that is intended for parents who really have fallen on hard times. And certainly that group has grown exponentially over the COVID time. What we've done is we've been quite accommodating and lenient, and whereby in the past, we would expect payments over 10 months, a 10-month down payment. We have extended it to 12 months, and that really has played quite nicely into our fee collection plan. As always, not only in COVID times, parent engagement is very important, and it is essential that this engagement commences right from the outset. So from the beginning of the year, when we knew what was waiting for us in the wings, we started to speak to our parents to design a plan that would benefit everybody. So we were quite individual in crafting that plan, parent by parent. One of the questions that I noticed had been asked was, how do we convince parents to actually pay their school fees? And we had many discussions around this. And the one answer that kept coming to the fore was the fact that we had to show that our blended learning program or our hybrid learning program between face-to-face tutoring in the classroom and what we call our at-home program on the alternative days, that was actually happening, and that parents were getting value for money despite the fact that their children weren't at school all the time. We found that was exceptionally crucial. And what I really wanted to spend the most time with today was the strategy that we enforced, and that was to outsource our debt collection. And the company that we use was our debt collector all along, but we just got them more on board, and Bentley's attorneys and debt collection have really made the difference for us. Just some ideas about why we did outsource. We had found that the extra work was placing excessive pressure on our admin system. And Bentley, they integrate their financial and their admin software. So their process is automated. And that took a lot of pressure on our systems. We also found that it was cheaper for us to outsource than to insource and to employ a specific designated person to handle this new scenario. We know that it's really hard work to deal with defaulting parents, and it took a lot of the pressure off my staff. Then Bentley also has the technical and the legal expertise. So they are very affordable. We only pay them on our success rate. And they understand the South African Schools Act from a fee collection perspective. They understand how divorce orders work, what the law requires, and they are able to be a lot more eloquent in their description of that while dealing with the parents. They are debt collection experts. They're trained in debt negotiating skills, and that was something that we really thought would be of great assistance to us in these unprecedented times. Their calls are all recorded. Their calls are subjected to quality assurance. It's managed by a call center manager, and their advanced call center is top class. So we thought that that was really what we needed to strengthen our hand in improving our income. The 12-month follow-up that they do is not influenced by the school holidays or any other breaks. So there was, from the 1st of January to the 31st of December, we've got them on board to help us. The establishment of early payment habits I've already spoken about a little, and that is vital, that one doesn't allow parents to slide into a sense of laissez-fairness, and that straight away there is this communication with the parents. And of course then separating the fee collection and the exemptions reduces the number of handovers which follows in that process. They've helped us to get all our forms correct, our notes are correct, so that when there's a handover process, it is absolutely smooth sailing. The benefits I have covered a little. The regular and detailed feedback, we get that almost on a weekly basis regarding how many parents have been handed over, what the history is of that parent, what negotiations have happened. It goes through to our exemptions committee and we sit and we discuss that. I must also say that at Danville, we don't simply just consider the exemptions through a handover. It's not a paper process. We sit as an exemptions committee. I am excluded from that to keep an arm's length from academics, but parents are contacted to ask if they would be prepared, even though they would qualify for a full exemption, to make some contribution. And it is voluntary, but there again is that communication and connection with the parent. The process we have now is solution driven. Bentley has the ability and the expertise to work with parents, and we find that 99% of the time the solution is amicable, and that really is what we want. We don't want to distance the parents. We want to be part of that community and collaboration to find an amicable solution. It reduces the dead time of the admin staff at my school, listening to or working with difficult parents, or even trying to get hold of parents, frees them up to do other tasks, because that is all done by our debt collectors and our advisors. And then I don't think I need to mention the reduced stress levels, which probably should be right at the top of the list. The abuse endured by my in-house collection staff is now handed over to an organization that is well equipped to deal with these matters. Just some other strategies other than the debt collection. We have obviously revisited our expenses. Last year, we only spent money on necessary items. So we spent a lot of time and energy on upgrading our IT because of our blended learning model. And of course, we all know that we had to put structures and infrastructure and systems in place with regards sanitizing of schools and desks and outside areas. So we really cut back excessively. However, we were mindful of the fact that whatever we reduced, we didn't want that to bite us later when we went back to normal. I have already mentioned effective communication, talking to parents about what was happening at school, finding out about their personal and financial situations, and how, and advising them regularly on how their personal and financial involvement was crucial to ensure a successful year for their child, for their daughter. We also looked at our service providers. So for example, I can just mention one. We got a number of quotes again from insurance companies, and we made a considerable saving just on that. And the company that we then employed, they have given us a considerable discount if we paid a larger part of our premiums up front. I speculate probably 80,000 Rand saving for the year, which is quite a lot when you put all those little drops back into the bucket. We looked at our policies, we looked at our systems, we spent a lot of time as management as well as SGB interrogating our systems to see how we could work wiser. I think that is crucial. To do the same thing as Einstein said, doing the same thing over and over again and hoping to get a different outcome is just insanity. And so that was our mantra, and we decided we've got to look at everything with a fine-tooth comb and see how we could think differently, because the world certainly is very different and will be different for a long time. We did reduce repairs and maintenance. I've spoken to that already. Not those things that would increase our costs later on, but we certainly did delay those that were able to be delayed. And those were often were of cosmetic nature. We saved money on some of our sporting events. Yeah, so that really, in a nutshell, is what we did at Danville. And I do hope that it can be of some assistance to principals and SGBs, and obviously to use that as a framework and hopefully build more effective strategies around that and share with one's colleagues. I think that is so important to collaborate in these difficult times.
Well done, Linda. Thanks so much. I'm sure you're done if you're at the exit. We've got 2 or 3 great questions, and we might run over a little bit in time. I just want to say, but yeah, well done for what you did and how you did it, and hitting all the issues that needed to be addressed, showing value to your parent community, engaging the community early on. And that leads into the first question. How do we encourage in a fee-paying public school the parent body to continue paying school fees? How we train them and teach them the essential importance of school fees? Any thoughts?
I wish it was an easy one. It certainly is going to be very hard. We've had to put out a lot of fires. Last year, people were saying, well, children have only been at school for 60%, therefore we only want to pay 60% of that school fee. I think we worked quite hard when we knew that parents were not on difficult times. We did just push back and say, well, you know, you have had online learning. We have covered all the outcomes. So I think that's important, is to first have a look at the situation, but then to push back where pushback is needed. And as I mentioned, certainly to keep communicating with parents that education continues. They need to understand through Google Classroom or Google Guardian that work is being done. And in fact, in many cases, more work is being done as teachers have had to upskill themselves at very short notice to be able to effectively teach or educate under these new conditions. So what we do is we have a weekly newsletter, and that goes out to the parents. And in that, we are constantly telling parents what is new, what have we done, and just to convince them and communicate with them that what they are actually getting is good value for money. Obviously, if the money is not forthcoming because they have fallen on difficult times, that's where we need to be empathetic. And that is, of course, we need to be obedient to the South African Schools Act.
Brilliant. A very quick bullet point answer. Your point of view on the compulsory or willing voluntary nature of debit orders at a school. Any thoughts on running debit orders?
We do run debit orders. We try and encourage parents to do that. So, you know, I just think take money, whatever it comes your way, take it. We often get people who we've handed over and it's 2, 3, 4 years down the line as well. And they make us an offer because now they want to buy our car and they've been blacklisted. And we just say, we'll take it. We'll take whatever money we can get. So certainly, yeah, I think it is something that we have found has worked for us.
Excellent stuff. Linda, thanks so much. We're running out of time, and we could continue this. I think it's a very important discussion, a really tough one to manage, but thanks for your input here. What I hear is communicate, like with real estate, location. With your parents, communication. So well on that one. Maybe just a comment to close off the session. School Advisor has a stand in exhibition space, and they have a tender advisory service. Jumping back to Sean's talk a little bit earlier. So if you've not run tenders and you want to get advice and process on that, please join their exhibits in the exhibit space. We really want to thank our speakers this morning. Well done to everyone that's logged in. Have a great day with Schoolscape Premier. Such a joy to always see education going forward. And I think it's very important that we stay the course and change the landscape for our learners for the future. Pete, Ashley, over to you guys. Thanks so much for joining us this morning. Linda, thank you, Sean, for the earlier session. Take care. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Brilliant. Thanks, everyone. Linda, I just really appreciate the effort that you put in. It was such a great presentation. So thank you on that.
Am I able to make a closing statement?
Yes, please.
Just to wish everybody all the best. The last slide on my presentation had a downward trend, and that is a debtors trend. So yeah, all the best.
Thank you, Linda. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, I think we are in a bit of crazy times. We do have 2 polls running at the moment, if you want to enter those. And just for interest, one of the things we asked just on the polls is, has your school run a tender? And 57% of the people said yes. So that's fantastic to see so many schools running tenders. We're also just seeing, have you seen a reduction in successful school fee collections? And there's a mixed bag. So 18% are less than 5%. 23% of people are saying they've had a 5 to 10% reduction in successful school fee collection. And 46% are 10% and above. So, and some are even above 20%. So we really understand that it is crazy times there for schools. So we appreciate what you're doing. We know it is a heavier topic this morning, so I think we need to break the mood. Ashley has a terrible joke.
I love jokes. I said to Pete, I'm going to bring a joke so that we can all laugh a bit, we can all stand up, shake around, and then we can jump back into some great expert industry advice that's coming. So here's one for the headmasters. So son gets up, no, mother walks into son's room, says, son, get out of bed, you got to go to school. Son kind of peers up at mom and says, but why, mom? I hate school. So as we mothers do, we engage in a debate and we say, give me one good, or give me two good reasons why you shouldn't go to school. And the son says, right, hot off the press, well, the kids hate me and the teachers hate me even more. The mother looks at son and says, good excuse, but you still got to go. So the son looks at the mom and says, mom, give me two good reasons why you think that I should go. And while the mom looks at the son and says, well, son, you're 47 and the headmaster. So headmasters, we just wanted to say, we know that you're carrying a really heavy load and that you have your kids, you have the staff, you have the parents, but we also know that you have great teams around you supporting in the management staff and that you're doing a good job. So just to all the headmasters out there, to the management staff of the schools.
And the headmistresses.
And sorry, I use that as black statement. Let's go to principals, all the principals out there, be it man or woman, principals, we just want to thank you. Our kids are all in schools around here, in some of your schools, and we just appreciate the role that you're playing to lead the ship through a difficult time, still providing excellent education to our children and our country's children. So
thanks. I just want to give everyone a quick line of sight.
Yes.
So what you've got to look forward to, we've got 3 industry experts that are going to break open different topics that could be of value for you as a school. And then we have our inspirational session. And what's really cool is PPM is giving an Apple Watch away. Today. So before they sponsoring our inspirational session, so just before Rian Trita does our last, we want to end on a high. That's why we've asked Rian to share at the end a bit of inspiration. Before he shares, the team from PPM will just share, and we're going to run a poll. And if you enter that poll, no matter what you say, you will possibly walk away with that watch. But now we just want to give space for some people from the industry to share. And I think one of the things this event is really about, and it was fantastic. Linda punted a company there that wasn't paying in any shape or form. And that's what we want. We want schools to share with each other. And we also want to introduce you to some suppliers that we know can provide you incredible value and can address certain topics. So Ashley, over to you.
Awesome. Okay, so next up we have 3 short and sharp industry experts that are going to address different topics. We have digital generation that's going to look at, so we're all talking about tech, we're all talking about the integration of tech into our classrooms, and we're all wondering where the budget for that tech is meant to come from. So digital generation is going to look at great tech and also how to finance that great tech and some of the offerings and models that they have developed for schools, particularly in this time. Then we're going to look at D6, and then we're going to look at Felicity, the director of Toshiba Cape Town, that's going to look at operational costs. But let's go straight into digital generation. Digital generation, hello Michelle, Michelle's back. They are Dell's Titanium partner, and a lot of these offerings are made possible by Dell, but through digital generation. So if anything is said here that you're interested in schools, please go connect with digital generation at their expo booth. Michelle, without any further introduction, you can kick off your session.
Thank you. I was going to put up the big fancy DG background, but thought this is a bit more personal, and I am working from home today. I am representing DG in my uniform, and I'm not in my pajamas, which is a good start to the day.
Wedding photos in the background, and that's
wedding photo. You can see that I do come and look presentable and get it done. So yeah, I wanted to share a quick video, so I hope it's going to work with sound. kind of want to start off by saying, obviously DG is a IT reseller, but we actually hate the term reseller. We like to call ourselves an IT partner, because that's essentially what we become to our clients or to schools. We want to be an extension of your IT department. So we want to entrench ourselves to better assist the school or our client directly. So in the video, you can see that we have obviously two options, which is what a school would choose. Either the school is choosing devices and they are procuring them. And obviously, Jonathan spoke this morning about financial services. And what happens with Dell Financial Services from a DG perspective is, should a school come to us and say, you know, we really like the Latitudes or the Chromebooks or the interactive displays, and we love the idea of PC as a service, which is your deployment, your procurement, and your asset management. So essentially, it's Dell assisting you to manage all of the infrastructure, all the technology within your infrastructure. And DFS will then take our quote and work out a customized financial plan where it will be either a pay-as-you-go or grow, and they can factor in buying back your old technology. So DFS is such an amazing offering from Dell. And they don't just say that, you know, the Dell brands have to be in there. If you wanted to add some additional offerings that Dell can't provide, so if there's Parrot offerings you're wanting or other brands, they can facilitate that all in one financial quote. The next thing I wanted to bring up is, should a school have bring your own device? And we get this a lot at Digital Generation, where parents send us spec sheets, and sometimes those spec sheets have complete wrong information. The technology that is on there is actually end of life, not available in country, or has an ETA of 6 months. So as you know, there is a stock shortage on laptops. We are going to be in a stock shortage for the next 12 to 18 months. That's been confirmed by the OEMs, not just Dell, but across the range. And what we want to do is help guide the schools in choosing technology. You don't have to necessarily go with one brand. Obviously, Dell has so much more to offer when it comes to servicing and that warranty aspect, but we want to help you to give a range to your parents. So you can have that expensive brand, you can have the medium price brand that still meets the requirements of your school and obviously the grades that you have. And when we've spec'd that, we can also bring in the technology for you, hold it at our warehouse, and run a parent purchasing program. So where that sets us apart is we can either do it where you just obviously send out a spec sheet and you list us as a reseller, and your parents can come to us directly and we'll manage that, you know, deliver direct to the parent. Our call center will manage any queries on the device. If the parent, for some reason, phones in and says, I don't know how to turn this thing on, we will manage that. Nothing will go through the school when it comes to technology queries, and also obviously order management. So when the technology will be delivered to them. But what I think sets us apart the most is we are able to create platforms. So should a school want to run a bring your own device strategy, we can build a platform that is, the entire artwork is of the school, so to the school CI, and we can list all the different products that the school has approved technology-wise. So I just wanted to show you what we've done. We have partnered with a client called Fundi. They were EduLoan. They do financing for education. We are their technology fulfillment partner. So I'll show you their site that we've built, we manage, but this can be done for any school should they wish to go on the parent purchasing program. So let me attempt to share. So this is our Fundi site we built to their CI. Here you can see we have the different range of laptops. We have the education options. We have obviously Lenovo Acer. We do have Dell on here. We've just put them in our own section. But this is just to show you that we can offer a platform to a school where parents can go on, see the technology that is available. We can bundle offerings if the school wants to put, like Jonathan said, a laptop with a sleeve or a mouse or a headset. And in general, DG does offer every range, every brand. So we can put this together as a catalog for the school, even link it through to the school's website as an extension. And obviously, should the school sign on, we can then talk about rebates, you know, and customize the solution for the school. So I don't want to take up too much time, but that's us in a nutshell. If you are interested or you have any questions or queries or want to find out more, you can reach out to me directly. And we are on the, I think it's the Schoolscape quoting platform, where you can send through a quote request and we get an opportunity to quote. So we are always open to being your third, fourth, and fifth quote. Just give us an opportunity to show you what we can do.
Awesome. Thank you, Michelle. We appreciate your time. We appreciate you always coming on to support and sponsor these events and make these events possible, and also just your heart to see technology integrated well into schools and make it available to all schools. So we appreciate that a lot. Please go visit Michelle and their team on the Digital Generations Expo booth. And also, we posted a poll now for Digital Generation. If you'd like more advice around how to finance technology better, please go and enter those polls. The more polls you enter, there's also a greater opportunity to win those elusive, wonderful Take Lot vouchers. Great. Next up, we have Willem. Willem is from one of my favorite education companies, D6. And, you know, Willem and I had a great chat this week. We were talking about this perception that good technology has to come with these excessive costs. And I love the D6 approach that just starts to kind of challenge that, to disrupt that thinking. Their whole approach says, well, good technology should actually help to generate income and lower cost. And so today, D6 is going to approach the topic of how they help schools generate income and not just reduce the costs of great communication, but actually make the schools money. So Willem, I'm not going to take more of your time. You can kick off your talk.
Thank you, Ashley. Yeah, thanks for the opportunity. As you've mentioned, we've always wanted to identify how could we support schools to, first of all, be more effective, because that's technically from a D6 perspective, what we want to achieve is create or support effective schools. And that's through our school management platform. But our biggest challenge was, how do we ensure that the funding of this platform becomes sustainable? Obviously, we understand that schools are cash strapped, so we need to find clever ways of how can we support schools that they can continue funding these platforms and other technology, and how can we create a sustainable funding program within our platform. So just to recap quickly on the D6 group, we currently support about 2,500 schools in the country, which makes use of our other communication or school management platforms. And our core intent, as mentioned in the beginning, we want to support schools to be more effective. We understand the complexities of school management, and I do think that the market in general do not necessarily fathom the complexity of a school. We fully get that. The second thing that we want to enable is obviously ensure that your parents are better connected to your school so that they can gain access to relevant information that is relevant to them. And as Rian mentioned earlier, is communication is a vital part of an effective or the efficiency of schools. And then the third thing is we want to support community businesses to have a better and more focused advertising platform so that they can provide their products to the schools in their community in a non-intrusive way. I'm a firm resistor for just generic advertising. So that's definitely something which we want to try and do, is support community businesses or businesses in your school, parents that have businesses in a school, to get their products or enable them to promote to the parents within that school. So what we've developed over the past 2 years is a platform or an initiative called D6 Rewards. We've already distributed more than R1 million back to schools through D6 Rewards, with the intention that the rewards that the schools get will eventually offset the cost of the software that they pay for us, and they can use additional funding that they receive to pay for other technology or anything else for that matter. A school at this stage that makes use of our full integrated platform can earn up to about R20,000 per month, which becomes an annuity flow for that school as an additional income generator. And how the schools do that is First of all, by using the platform as effectively as possible, because in our view, if you don't use the technology that is available to you effectively, then it will have a jeopardizing effect on the school's effectiveness. But then secondly is there are two specific initiatives that we're working on within the D6 environment that's already available to schools that are using D6 Connect or our D6 Plus product stack. And I'm maybe going to go into a screen share to show the users how easy it can be to help your school and the businesses in your community to flourish. So this is the D6 Connect application, which is already utilized by more than 1,000 schools in the country, which is the front runner and our latest product that we've got on the market. Within the D6 Connect environment, you can see there at the bottom, there's a button called More. If you click on More, there are two new service offerings that we've implemented. One is local listings and the other one is D6 Rides. Local listings is, as mentioned, we want to link businesses in community with the parents of that community. A community is referring to a school or a club or a church. Under local listings, there are a couple of listing categories that these businesses can list themselves on. As an example, child specific, there's tutoring, and then the tutors in your school or in your community can list their business on this platform, and every parent that are connected to that specific school will have access to it. The platform or the listing is 90 Rand a month, which is the cost of 3 cappuccinos or that. And we share 50% of that back to the school. So it's similar to the advertising on your newsletters, as an example. This is just a bit more of an interactive environment where businesses can list themselves on this platform. And obviously parents can then find these services that's relevant to them in their community. The other thing, functionality that we've recently launched that we are very excited about is how do we ensure that lift sharing within community takes place? There's a number of parents that's driving around with empty cars or seats available in their cars. And also a number of parents who don't have the ability at this stage, maybe from a logistical perspective or working full day, to facilitate or help their kids to get to the events. And that's where we've launched our new D6 Rides initiative, where parents can create a trip that you're going to the, I don't know, pole rugby match or netball or whatever the case might be. You can state how many seats you've got available in your car, when you'll be driving from where to where, and then other parents can book a trip. So you can book a trip within the community that you are part of. And if those trips are active in your community, then a parent will be able to see that those trips are taking place and they can book that trip. So what we're solving there is facilitating lift sharing within the environment, but then there are fees involved for that, where the parent that are utilizing the service will pay for the service, and the parent that's driving, they're driving. And then the payment we also share back to the school. So just out of those two initiatives, the schools already have the ability to generate additional income through the utilization of what we, of the school management platform. And it is already available to any school that utilizes the D6 Plus platform. Just the last thing that I want to mention, which is something that has already been available on our platform for some time, and that's available for both Connect and Communicator schools. Those schools that are using the old D6 School Communicator, there are advertising availabilities within the news feed that you use to communicate to your parents. And these advertising initiatives are also available for either community-based businesses or national players. And we share a portion back of that advertising back to the school with the intention that D6 becomes a profit driver for the school and not only a cost center for the school. But in saying that, our most important and core reason for existence is still to be, or to enable schools to be more effective, and not only to drive profits for the school. That is an outcome of what we're trying to achieve. That is not the core reason why we do what we do. So yeah, that's in a nutshell the opportunities that are already available for schools. And if you have or are using any of the D6 products, whether it's the old school communicator or the new D6 Plus product stack, these opportunities are available to you already. It's just a case of just start using it and start generating income for your school, and never worry about a D6 cost ever again.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you, Willem. We appreciate you, and we appreciate all that you're doing to help schools be more effective in their management. If you want to get hold of Willem and the team from D6, please pop over to their expo booth and connect with them there, or answer the poll, and we will get one of their wonderful sales team to contact you to give you more information on how you can start making money.
Yeah, and I just want to say that ride share thing, game changing. You know what I mean? I really encourage the schools to get your parents to embrace it. I just think the amount of parents that spend Sunday evenings frantically working out lifts and logistics, and so yeah, D6. I think that what you've done there is absolutely game changing.
Awesome.
Thanks, Pete. Thank you, Ashley. Just maybe a last comment. Ride sharing and local listings. Those two initiatives are unfortunately only available on the D6 Connect platform. So if schools wants to move over from the old school communicator over to the new D6 Connect environment, we'll obviously help them in that process. There's so much more benefits on the Connect environment, facilitating payments between parents and the school, the on-campus payment facilitation with tap and pay at tuck shops, etc. So there's just so much more that's available for schools within the new environment. So yeah, looking forward to help everyone converting.
Thank you. You would have all remembered, if you have ever attended our Schoolscape live events, that we love coffee. And then our last event just before we went into lockdown, D6 was there with Stick It, their cashless payment system, where you could all had a passport, you tapped the passport and you got your coffee. So we're really sorry. We wish we could still be giving you coffee and we could be demoing incredible products, but connect with D6 and you'll have it up and running in no time in your school. And really, I know you'd be seeing the benefit. So thank you, Willem.
Thanks, Schoolscape.
And great. Have a good day.
You too.
Lastly,
Thank you.
before we give away watches and going into wonderful very inspirational sessions with Rian Truter, we have Felicity. Felicity is the director of Toshiba Cape Town, and Felicity is going to be addressing operational costs in your school. So these are costs that all schools have, no matter how big or small you are. And Felicity and the team at Toshiba have really focused in on how to save schools money. So, I mean, Felicity and them have done the tenders, they've won the tenders with the WECD, so they understand schools well, and they understand operational costs well, and they understand how to save you money. So, Felicity, I'm not going to take more of your time. Off you go.
Thank you. Hello, Sabana, Molweni. Hello, Dar. My name is Felicity, and I'm a director of Toshiba Cape Town. Pete and Ash, thank you so much for this opportunity. It's always a blessing. And a note, Pete and Ash said absolutely no PowerPoint presentations for me. So I don't know why, but principals and deputies and teachers.
Love your face.
Thank you for your time. We're going to do a quick, some low flying. So put your seatbelts on and let's get ready. I'm going to be dealing with two subjects today. The first is how to avoid rental agreement pain and suffering. And the other is going to be some amazing cost-saving solutions and technologies. So we consider ourselves very blessed, as Ash said, to have won RISO and photocopier tenders 3 years in a row with the WCED. So we really understand. We've got over 200 plus schools that we support, and we understand the importance of having good quality equipment and as a minimal amount of downtime, and to give them excellent support. We really, really get that. The other thing is that we've also seen how schools are being taken advantage of quite a bit by office automation companies. So I'm going to give you some helpful hints, just 10 of them, to get through these tricky agreements. So let's get going. I do have a copy of this discussion as well. So if you want me to send it to you, just message me and I'll send it to you. So first off, try not to take secondhand equipment. Equipment has got a lifespan of 3 to 5 years. If it's so gently used, refurbished, try and stay away from that. The second thing is when you do get new equipment, just check that it is brand new. The third thing is choose a 0% escalation over an 8%, a 10% or 15% escalation. Escalations do work, but with honest reps. So rather just be safe than sorry and do a 0% escalation. Also, this is important, discuss ownership of the equipment upfront rather than at the end of the contract. It's nice to have the opportunity to keep the equipment at the end of the rental contract and maybe put it in a library with a coin operator for children to be able to use, or to move it somewhere else in the school, but discuss this upfront, because copier companies and office automation companies won't be open to dealing with it on the back end. The other thing which I think bears discussing is a lot of companies do a 60-month rental contract and a 72-month service contract. You should have both your rental contract and your service contract run concurrently, because otherwise you'll find yourself having finished the rental contract but still have another 12 months on your service contract. When you sign a rental contract, the day you sign it, send cancellation of the rental contract to the finance company and to your service provider. Why? Because the rental contract, it's hard to keep a track of. The years come and go, and suddenly you are, the 5th year has arrived, and you haven't remembered to cancel your contract. So just rather do it at the beginning. Keep a copy of the email, request a delivery receipt and a read receipt. Save them all in a folder together, and you know that job is done. Why? Because some companies want a 90-day cancellation notice period, others want a 60-day cancellation. It's very difficult to keep a track of it. Then put a little note in your Outlook 6 months before the end of the contract, just to give yourself a heads up to be able to refresh your equipment. The other thing is, and this is the last thing, you don't need a minimum billing. A copy cost is sufficient. So a lot of companies will load the service contract with the minimum billing, but actually you're not really paying for anything other than just your service. Okay, now for the fun part. You can loosen your seatbelt a little bit. We're going to kick off. You are teachers, so you think you know everything there is to know about RISOs. I know what you're thinking, but we have, and these are some of the things that you're thinking. Seeing as I don't have a PowerPoint presentation, you're thinking messy masters, yikes. You're thinking cheap copies. Oh, it's going the wrong way around. Oh dear, love that. No double-sided print. And those are all parts of RISO machines. Expensive masters, no double-sided print, no sorting capacity. Those are all the pains of a RISO. However, they are very cheap to run, and that is the beauty of it. So we have a new machine. It's a RISO, so it's robust. It can print millions of copies. It's got great capacity. However, and it prints at 3.5 to 4 cents a page. It can print at 120 copies a minute. It scans, it prints double-sided, and it has a staple sorter. This machine deserves a second look. It's new on the market. It's absolutely fantastic. So I've got a video on the Toshiba Cape Town exhibition site. Go and have a look at it. It's well worth it. You'll have a machine with capacity, with the ability to staple and sort, with the ability to double side, and it is robust. So it's new on the market. Toshiba Cape Town has got the mandate from RISO for the whole of the Western Cape. So please feel free to call us or to I'll come and do a demo or a PowerPoint presentation. We'll have some fun. The other thing that I would like to bring to your attention is electricity savings. So you're probably thinking, what does Toshiba have to do with electricity? Well, we have partnered with a wonderful company, Province Lighting, and we did a POC on 2 low-income schools in the Western Cape, and we dickied their school up. We gave them some smart lights, free of charge, and LEDs. And we did a proof of concept because honestly, electricity is going up. This is worth a second look. So the whole thing with smart lights is if you walk out of the room, the lights go off. If you walk into the room, the lights come on. If you have an abundance of natural light in the room, the lights dim. If the room is short of light, then the smart lights increase in capacity, I guess. But this is a really, really good thing to do. We can give you an assessment, a free assessment. So please connect with a gentleman by the name of Jacques de Villiers, and just ask him to come and suggest a way forward. So the second,
I'm jumping on to tell you that we love hearing what you have to say, but you have 1 minute left to say it.
Okay, thank you. Now, the other thing is we have got a machine that reuses normal paper up to 20 times. So if you consider the fact that paper costs you 8 cents a sheet, you reuse it a couple of times and your paper actually is costing you very little. So, and the last but not least, we have telephones that are fantastic. There are hotspots for data, which really, really help when you're having load shedding, and they connect to electricity. So please have a look at our different PowerPoint presentations and then connect with Justin on the Toshiba Cape Town site. And hopefully we connect with you guys later. Have a wonderful day.
Awesome. Thank you, Felicity. Amazing that you can actually reuse paper. That just blows my mind. I'd like to see a demo of that. So if you're a school and you're interested in finding out a little bit more, there is a poll on your right. In the chat bar, there's a poll tab. If you do want more details from Felicity and her team, please enter that poll. I'm sure she would love to demo the different offerings and that photocopier thing. That sounds incredible. So Felicity, thank you. And also thank you for really being a trusted company. I think photocopier companies often get a bad name, and I think your company is helping giving it a good name. So thank you for being upfront and honest with the schools. We know you guys, we've seen the schools you deal with, and we know you're trustworthy. So thank you.
Thanks.
All right.
Bye.
Ciao. All right. So now we are going to hit 10 minutes of inspiration. So Rian Trita is, we always want to end on a positive note. And I think we understand what schools have been through. It's a crazy period. So it's great to end on that positive note. But before we get there, the event is made possible because of sponsors. So PPM has sponsored these inspirational sessions. That's how we keep it free. But the cool thing with PPM is they also give away cool prizes. So they are giving, so I'm just going to invite them on stage. And what we're actually going to do now is we're going to invite them on stage. They're going to share a little bit, and they're going to be giving away an Apple Watch.
Yeah.
And then the cool thing is to enter it, it's super simple. We're going to do a poll after their session, and it's going to say simply, would you like more info or something from PPM? Even if you answer no, the guys are so cool from PPM, you can still win that prize. So PPM, where are you? Do you? Hopefully they are there.
There's Leanne.
All right, Leanne, I know as a company you're doing inspirational and amazing things, and because of that you've sponsored our inspirational session. So would love to just give you a couple of minutes just to share about who you are and how you can bring some really cool tech to schools.
Right. Thank you very much. So I'm the product and solution specialist at PPM Audio Visual. So basically I'm the guy that comes out to you if you need anything for the classroom or need advice on certain solutions, that guy. So Yeah, so basically today's slot, my little 8 minutes is to basically try and inspire you by showcasing the products that we're giving away firstly, and putting myself in a teacher's position. So basically, I'm not going to lie, I'm very, very nervous, and I'm pretty sure you guys feel the same way, especially with this pandemic that came along, where you guys are being bombarded with technology, and kind of you guys need to figure out how to use this stuff. So yeah, I hope I'm going to inspire you by doing a short little lesson kind of thing for you guys. I'm by no means a teacher, but I'm going to do my best by using the technology, and hopefully you guys are inspired by that and go out and do something similar. All right, so basically I'm just going to flip my camera here just to show you what I have set up for you guys. So each of you coming through. So basically this is our training room. It's very much similar to what you guys have in the classrooms, or what a classroom setup is. So you basically got your LED panel, in my case, an LED panel. In some cases you might have a projector. Alright, so that's the first component then. The second two components, or three components should I say, is I've got my laptop now in front of me, I've got my visualizer, which is part of the prize, which four of you guys will be taking home with you guys, and then I've got a webcam, which is also part of the prize, right? Okay, so basically, I'm now going to show you guys a quick steps on how to build a visitors alarm. So first step is I'm going to share my screen with you. So let me just pop over here. Let's go share screen. Right, and click share. Okay, so I hope you guys can see my screen. So now moving over to my software, which is all going to make this all happen. So let me just minimize that, move that out of the way. Pop that up there. Alright, so like I said, I'm going to be showing you guys how to build a visitors alarm. So this is my workbook. Alright, so the next first thing that I can do is to make this stand out even more, is I can now go and zoom in. So let's just zoom in to that section over there. And to make this point out even more for you guys, we are building a visitors alarm. Alright, so basically what this visitors alarm is it picks up detection. So whenever someone visits your booth, for instance, it breaks the light, and basically a siren goes off, so it alerts me that someone is at my stand, kind of thing. You can build this basically at home for your pets as well. So the pet door, for instance, you can build this little system and mount it up against the wall, and you'll basically know each and every single time your pets are entering or moving out of that door, shall I say. Alright, so let's go ahead with that. So I'm going to move my document away, and now we're going to move on to the practical side of that. Alright, so here's my little device, and this is where we're going to start building the first two steps. So I'm just going to go side by side mode, and I want to share a document here. So just go over here to my media library, because what I've done is I've already screen captured that little textbook. So you've got my live feed on the left-hand side, and on the right-hand side is a static image which I've taken of that little document. So let's zoom in now to the first steps which one needs to take in starting to build this visitors alarm. So we've got our wiring sequence over there. So let me just grab my pen and actually just right around that. So wiring sequence, you guys can see that, is basically the sequences which we need to now follow in order to completely and successfully build this the sensor alarm. So let's start with sequence 1, 2, 3. So 1, 2, 3 is here at the top. So I've got my battery connection, which connects to the control section over there, right? So basically I can also let me just move this out a little bit short here. There. So step number 1, so as you guys can see, sequence 1 is basically connecting your cable number from point number 1 to point number 2. Alright, so which is already done. So what's nice is I can now also capture these images whilst I'm doing this lesson. So let me just go back to visualizer mode. Alright, so I want to capture this image because I want to put this in a document. So I'm going to keep my hand over there, and I am going to take a screenshot of this. Right.
Hey Leon, just so you know, sorry, you've got 45 seconds left.
Okay, perfect. So I've got my screenshot, guys, and what I can do is I can now easily go and put this also in a document. So I've already set up a short little Word document. Now, this is keeping it simple. You can use OneNote and stuff like that as well. But for instance, I can now go and insert the first steps over there. So the point that I'm trying to demonstrate here is actually you as an educator can also take it a step further where you can go and create your own documents with a visualizer by capturing static images. Hell, I can even, whilst I'm busy doing this, I can actually record this and I can pop my video in this document as well, or link it to YouTube videos which I'll post it up over there. Right, so thanks guys. For more information or for further details, please do visit our stand. And like I said, the products that we've just demonstrated over here, they are part of the prizes. So please go and visit our site and call us if you need help.
Awesome.
Thanks guys.
Don't you want to remind us quickly how we can win that passport prize?
Are you talking their prize?
Yes.
So if you want to win the Apple Watch, I think it's a Series 6 or something fancy, please just pop into the poll. And on the poll, if you literally say there's a question asking if you need any quotes from PPM, you can answer yes or no. Even if you answer no, you're still going to go into the prize. So Leanne, thank you. We really appreciate you sponsoring these inspirational sessions. And we're going to invite Rian on stage. So Leanne, thank you. And before I hand over to Rian, I just want to remind everyone, we have a session this afternoon. Every now and again, when you run an online event, you feel like you land with your bum in the butter with something very cool. And we've managed to land the head of digital learning at Eton College in the UK. So he's going to be presenting at 3 o'clock. Hopefully we won't have any technical difficulties to start. And then after that, we've asked about 7 companies to do our Lions Den pitch. So that basically means they come in, they try and win your attention, and we give them thumbs up, thumbs down. You can evaluate them. So please do join us. You will see it in your agenda. That's at 3 p.m.
We're also giving away some phenomenal prizes for those of you that will engage on our Lions Den. We want to keep it rapid fire, short, sharp, exciting. So we will also be dropping a prize here and a prize there, and a good for the best comment, for the best thumbs up, for the best we'll just keep it positive. So please join us for that session, and yeah, we'll kick off Rian's session now.
Rian?
Good morning, Peter and Ashley. How are you guys?
Good, and yourself? Not as cool as you.
No, but it's a little bit darker here. There's load shedding in the Bellville Inn today. So I'm sitting in the dark, the best I can do in the Bellville Inn, but I think we're going to make it. So give me the floor, please.
All yours. Take it.
Thank you very much. Good morning, Schoolscape. It's another glorious day in South Africa. And I've got the shades on because somebody got this quote, the future shines so bright that I have to wear shades. And I really believe that, even with phase 1 load shedding and all the other stuff going on, this is our time to shine, and that's why we're wearing the shades. Yesterday afternoon, we spoke about role models, and I had 2 role models, but I told you about Stephen John Aquari, and I also had Hamish Brewer, the tattooed principal from Virginia and United States of America, and hopefully you went to Google them and see what they've done. But this morning, I want to do somebody else, the last one of the session, and you will probably know him, but not that well. His name is Hunter Doherty Patch Adams. And probably you saw the film. He became a household name when Robin Williams played his life story in the movie Patch Adams. And Hunter Doherty Adams, he was a medical doctor, but he was also a clown. And he believed in laughter and joy and creativity as part of his healing process. And he wrote that he believes, and I'm going to quote this again, that laughter, joy, and creativity are an integral part of the healing process. And I thought about that, about education. It's the same. Even in the office, it's the laughter, and it's the joy, and it's the creativity that create the healing process into that workspace you work. And as I said, I want to talk about Patch Adams. You can read his biography and you can read about his early part of life being a child, and it wasn't that pleasant. But at 18 years old, he decided he's going to let his life be governed by 6 principles. It was happy, funny, loving, cooperative, creative, and being thoughtful. And I want to have a quick look at all 6 of them. Yesterday, some of the previous presenters talked about cooperative, and I think teachers will hear that word a lot these days, but I'm going to have a quick look at all of them there. First one was happy. And he said, I think that's Patch Adams talking, that being happy is a revolutionary act and also a radical act. And I thought, why would he use that terms? Because a lot of people wait for somebody else to make them happy. You know, Rian, I'll be happy when I win the lotto. You know, Rian, I'll be happy when my headmaster or principal acknowledge my contribution. You know, Rian, I will, and we carry on, we carry on, we carry on, and we wait for somebody to make us happy. And that's why he said it's a revolutionary act. It's a radical act to decide I'm going to be happy. And that's why I said this morning, I have to wear shades. We have to be happy, and the only one that can decide if you're going to be happy today is yourself. Not Schoolscape, not Rian Treater, not the principal, not the governors, nobody else. You must decide. And I really hope that you're going to decide in the next few minutes. Today, 17th March is going to be my happiest day on this earth in South Africa. There was a Turkish playwright who wrote the following. He said, waiting for somebody or someone for hours, for days, and even for years is a common human behavior. Then he went further. He said, take the word waiting out of your dictionary, move and act. And I can't agree more with that. We have to decide that we want to move, we want to act. And we spoke about that yesterday again in being a role model. So let's have a quick look again at some of these ones. The first one was happy. The second one is funny. And a lot of people think, you know, Rian, ek is nie snaaks nie. I'm teaching science, and science is not a funny subject. But deep down inside, I've got a special kind of humor. I wish the people would see that. Twak, man, that's not applicable. You must show people that you're funny. Make fun of yourself first, and then you'll be funny. Laugh, and the whole world will laugh with you. We can easily say that, but you really believe it. You also believe laughter is the best medicine. Come on, man, just laugh a little bit. Smile a little bit. Okay, here's a test. When you drive back this afternoon, buy yourself one of these things at some of these mad stores. Put it on at the next robot when the other guy's not looking. You take it off and put it on and look at him. I'll tell you, he will run the red light just to get away from you. Say, there's a mad person next to me. Woo, what's happening? Put it on when you walk into your class. Put it on when you walk back tomorrow into your office and see what the people do. But it's difficult doing it on your own. What will the people say about me? Will they say I'm mad, crazy? Maybe they will say, you're funny, my mate. And that's what we want to do. Maybe they will laugh. Maybe the next year, all of them the next day will wear red noses. There's even a therapy now that they call laughter yoga. People come together, sit in a circle, and then they just start laughing. And I saw a photograph of this, and what really drew my attention, there was one guy chatting right in the middle. I won't laugh. You can laugh, but I won't laugh. If you do that, laughter is no hope for you. So please, please, laughter helps your immune system. You know that. Laughter helps you, but this is the wrong glass. I must put this glasses on. Laughter will keep you positive, social benefits, and assist in fighting illnesses. So laugh, and the whole world will laugh with you. And laugh, and you will be the best medicine. Loving, Pat said there's nowhere in the curriculum in the world that he's looked that there's an hour in a month or even a year that they teach the kids about loving. And that's one of the most important things we discovered during this pandemic, loving each other, being with people, loving each other. And I think in South Africa, we've got the best example of loving Archbishop Desmond Tutu. An archbishop said the following: we are made for loving. Oh, that sounds nice. We are made for loving. If we don't love, we will be like plants without water. And if you tomorrow you see somebody walking in and they look like a plant without water, hug them and say, I love you. This is the water for your life for today. Just laugh a little and see what happens. Next time, Mr. Principal, Mrs. Principal, before you do the scripture tomorrow in the staff room, maybe you must start within half an hour laughing. They will think you are completely cuckoo, but why do you worry? They say that anyway, that you are cuckoo. So start with this last session tomorrow morning. Cooperative. I'm not going to stay long with cooperative, but that is, we must start focusing on the we and the us and not only on the me. It's not all about me. It's all about us, and that's the cooperative part of this. Creative. Ken Robinson, we can talk hours about creativity and what he said about creativity. And he said this bad things about schools. He said, schools are killing our creativity. But he also said on the same instance, when you tell me, Rian, I'm not creative. Rian, when I was in grade 1, somebody buggered up my in Afrikaans, my klein motoriese goedjies. Now that's nonsense, man. That's nonsense. When you're born, when you're alive, you are creative. Ken also said, we don't grow into creativity, we grow out of it. And we are educating our children not to be creative. So please look around you. Decide tomorrow you're going to shift your desk. When you teach, try it from your desk, not behind your desk. Get out from your desk. Nobody will bite or assault you. Just walk down the aisle, sorry. In Afrikaans, you've got a fantastic saying. You can't sit op gat agter lesenaar methode. That's not going to work. I don't know how to translate that. Sorry. But maybe someday I'll got to get it in English for you. So the next one, thoughtful. Thinking less about yourself and more about others. We stop worrying about ourselves, we'll have a fantastic planet, a fantastic world, instead of worrying what I'm supposed to get. When will I be happy? What's going to happen? Think about other people, and then you will see it will go better with yourself. In conclusion, I know the time is running out and you're thinking about lunch and you want to go out and buy yourself a red nose and you want to drive down the avenue and say to the people, whatever. So you don't have to wear a tie. We spoke about that yesterday. You don't have to be wear a clown suit to be a role model. You can wear whatever you want to wear, as long as you don't come to the class without clothes. That won't be cool. So wear anything you want to be. Role models are real people, not fakes. Not fakes. You must be a real person with all your worries and all your laughter and all your other sides. So nobody can be happy 100% all the time, but try to go for 99.9. Role models don't try and impress. I can't be like Pete and Ashley. They are fantastic people. I can just only be myself. Don't try and said yesterday, don't buy a skateboard and try and skate into the school halls tomorrow. You're going to injure yourself and the school don't have a policy. So what are you going to do then? Walk into school the same way. And then the second last one, role models don't even know people see them as role models. I think that's a very important one. Role models don't even realize they are role models. And I've met this guy, Sarel van der Merwe, super van, the quickest man in South Africa in a car. And he was at a ceremony and they called him a superhero. And he came to me, but he used Afrikaans words in 3 letters. And I can't say it again on this channel. This is a Christian channel. I can't say it over here. Maybe if I have a braai, I can say it. But he said to me, Rian, when people call you a legend and you start believing that you are a legend, then you are in big trouble. And I thought about that. That's so true. If people start telling you how great you are, how wonderful you are building this image of this person, and it's getting difficult and more difficult and more difficult to be this person. So just laugh it off and say, thank you. I know that, but don't believe them. Then it's going to tough. Last one, role models do. Role models do. Role models don't wait for somebody to push them over the edge. They jump over the edge and they go flat out. And I want to close today like Patch Adams would have said. He would have said to you two guys, Schoolscape, If you want to change the world, then be your own focus for a celebration of life. Be thankful that you are alive, that you got this opportunity with these molecules at this moment. Be thankful. Be a celebrant. Be thankful that you are alive, and then look around you and see who else are at the party or is at the party. Life is a party, people. Life is fantastic if you believe it. Don't wait for other people to put on the music. You decide what music is going to play in your life today. So I want to say, hey, it's typically in a Pat Adams way. Go live, man. Go live. Boom. May you have a fantastic life. And thanks for being and watching and listening to Schoolscape today. I'm going to put up my happy glasses again. And thank you, Pete. Thank you, Ashley, for having me again.
Rian, I love it. I'm not going to call you a legend. But
what you say is legendary.
There we go. So we'll technically say it. We just appreciate the energy. We appreciate everything that you do for schools. I think for a former headmaster, I think you're still having a massive impact in education. We love listening to you. So thank you.
Thank you. Bye, people.
Bye.
Rian.
To make some people's days, we've got some prizes.
Awesome. So we are going to, we'll do like a, just checking the hair, checking the set. Okay, we're fine. We're going to keep going now. We're going to give away some prizes now. So firstly, we're going to do a lead up to this Apple Watch, I think. So let's go with a Bluetooth speaker. So thank you, Digital Generation. They sponsored a Bluetooth speaker, Remax Bluetooth speaker. And this is not for your classroom necessarily. This you can take home. So this prize goes to Lara Such from Hermanus Pre-Primary. So congratulations, Laura. Enjoy your Bluetooth speaker. Then, should we give away a Take-A-Lot prize?
Yes.
Okay, you find someone that made a great comment today. We'll give away a Take-A-Lot voucher. No pressure, Pete. But the lovely prize of the Apple 6 watch. This will hopefully inspire one of you to get out there, get fit, at the very least be on time for school, which my kids are never asked. Maybe I need it. So we have, do you have one? Okay, Take-A-Lot voucher, 1,000 Take-A-Lot voucher from Sonic Wall goes to
Elise Becker.
Elise Becker.
You said the following at Linda Scholz. What stood out for me from your presentation was communication with your parents. Wonderful input. Thank you so much. So we just love it when people engage in the topics and Absolutely. Just appreciate the speakers. And I think Linda did a great job. So Elise, congratulations.
Congratulations. Right. And last but not least, Audrey Pinar-Bauer from Melkbosstrand Private School. You are a lucky winner of a brand new Apple Series 6 watch. So we'll be in contact with you, Audrey. Enjoy your watch, put it to good use. And yeah, that really concludes us for today. Yeah. We want to encourage you to jump back on at 3 o'clock, where we are going to be, I think, really inspired by our speaker, who is the director of
Digital Innovation or Digital Learning at Eton College.
At Eton College. I think he'll speak into all the different areas, no matter where you are in a school, and what we're facing currently globally. It's so relevant to us. And so, yeah, we're excited to hear from him, and we're excited to hear from awesome companies in the Lions Den pitches. We're giving away lots of prizes. So we look forward to seeing you at 3 o'clock.
Awesome. Thank you, everyone. We'll see you later.
Bye.